We are live and in full effect right now. Yeah. What are we doing now? What are we doing right now? As to why. Okay, man, I got you. I got you. So what arrangements did I make? I made some other arrangements. What's up, y'all? Yeah, man, we about to talk about it. We about to get into it because there's some things that need to be discussed, and now's the time. Sorting out a couple different things. Y'all see what the topic is today? We got a couple different things that are headlining that we're going to talk about. Kyrie Irving and the protesters for his return. We're going to talk about Chris Brown and the American Music Awards. How about that? Balenciaga is in the news. We're going to talk about that. And August Alsina is on the scene. We got our hands full with a lot of stuff, man. We got a lot of conversation that's going to change some situations. Let me bring the volume down. It's kicking up over here. There we go. Yo. What up, y'all? What up, Instagram? What up, TikTok? What up, Sassy? What up, YouTube? What up, Facebook? What up, Twitter? What up, everybody? Let's get into this conversation, man. It's very serious. It's very real. It's real in the field, as they say. It is a chill live depression. Hang out with me for a little bit. We're going to talk about it. What up, Sanquilla? What up, Les Wu? Flawless? What's happening, y'all? Make sure y'all, when y'all jump on these lives, y'all hit the like button, and we're going to get started. I just need y'all assistance with that as we get things sorted out. Listen, this is the Bite to Eat podcast. We talk about a lot of things, health, wellness, social things that are happening, and, most of it is always going to be rooted in motivation, you know what I'm saying? I want y'all to feel better so y'all can chill better and y'all can do better. Well, we got some things. We got some hot fire, man. Hot fire right now going down. I'm trying to see why I don't have the volume for you guys over here on Instagram. I don't know if I used something or something is unplugged as to why you guys are not in the mix. But I can't worry about it right now. Now, can I? So we gonna rock it together the way that we rock it, y'all. Let's get started, y'all. It is 1:48, November 22nd, a Tuesday. A Tuesday. What up, Denise? What up, Rox? A Tuesday. And it is 57 degrees in Atlanta. And it's only gonna get up one more degree to a 58 degrees, but it feels good. I mean, I got this hoodie on, but it feels good out. I can't even front. Welcome to the Bite to Eat podcast, you guys. I'm your host with the most like butter on your breakfast toast. Little scrap with what's rocking in Atlanta, what's rocking in the ATL where the players dwell. We're going to have a conversation today. I think I already kind of let y'all in on it. I think y'all can kind of get it. Thank you, baby girl. I think that there's some things we need to talk about. Now, listen, I know y'all want to talk about Sanquilla. I know y'all do. And I want to accommodate that conversation about Sanquilla and what's going on. I do want to have that conversation. It's a hard conversation to have right now because there's been so much lying and deceit behind the Sanquilla situation that I don't want to touch it just yet while facts are still coming out. There's a lot of information that is really coming out about that situation, that it was a mastermind of things happening. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't, it sounds like this was a huge plot, bigger than what they're making it out to be. Some of the new information is incredible when everything that you thought you knew. This is why I told you. I remember the other day I talked about this. I said, yo, we got to slow down. What up, Sonny? I said, we got to slow down. Remember? Can't rush to judge. Can't jump to conclusions. You got to slow down and take things at a cool pace. I say that to y'all because here we are. We were all saying that the girl that we saw in the video, that she was fighting in the video. And again, I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm going to elaborate a little bit. The girl that was fighting her in the video is supposedly not the one who is responsible for the injuries that caused her to succumb. That's right. we saw this big burly girl slinging her around in that video, but there's another video and there's another young lady who comes to question, and her name is Winter. Now, I'm not going to dive into it. I'm going to leave that alone for a minute. I do have some other things that I think is worth, noteworthy for us to discuss. Oh, she played a huge part, Tay. A huge part. What up, Chuck? Today, man, today I got to pick up on a conversation, a conversation about Kyrie Irving. We're going to extend that a little bit because something absolutely really dope happened this past week for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving was returning back to the hardwood. Yeah, that's right. His suspension was up, and guess what happened? I don't know the count, but it looks like hundreds and hundreds of black Hebrew Jewish men were outside the stadium, all lined up in uniform. What up, Letitia? All lined up in uniform. I can't do that right now, bro. All lined up in uniform to discuss, to show representation for Kyrie Irving. So let me do this real quick. What up, Joanna? Hello, Dwight. Sending many hellos and happy holidays. Thank you so much. Let me just make sure we're all good. YouTube, sound quality, everything good. Instagram, sound quality, good and everything. TikTok, sound quality, everything good. Just want to do that double check before we get started. I know my podcast is in full effect. I'm looking at the meters. Everything's good. Just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly, and everything is popping. Because I hate to continue and dive into this whole thing, and then we be shook like, oh, man, it didn't sound good or whatever. So, sound check, y'all. We good? Thumbs up. Anybody? Bueller. Okay, so they came out and they showed a sign of unity and respect for Kyrie, which was, what he was, part of his conversation was anyway. And then what I didn't like was the media came right in and they started trying to trap him and bait him into saying something, and that's kind of an extension from the conversation of what happened with the young lady over in Mexico. You got to be mindful, man. People are not your friends. As much as people want to act like they're your friends, she did not take a trip with friends at all. You know what I mean? Shanquilla did not take a trip with her friends. And these people who are purportedly trying to be friends to Kyrie and do all these things right now, they are not friends. Y'all have to be mindful of the company that you keep. Even more so now, this is a plain example of that. What up, Zena? It is an obvious thing that we have to pay attention to the people that we surround ourselves with. Those were not friends. Carlito, you guys should be able to hear me over here direct. There is no, you guys aren't going through the microphone or anything like that. Those aren't friends. What up, Felicia? With friends like those, who needs enemies, right? Yeah, y'all should be able to hear me you got to give it a second. Somebody called on my phone. Let me see if I can fix that. Yeah, Instagram has some issues because I got an incoming phone call. I had an incoming phone call and then it kind of tripped it up. Kyrie Irving was suspended for words that they said he said, but he didn't say any words. That's the irony of it all. They said he got suspended for that Hebrews to Negroes conversation, and he didn't say anything. And so that's the real conundrum of it all. And I said this to you in previous videos, that they're coming after Kanye West for their own prejudices, for their own saying what they think he meant. You know what I'm saying? That's the real tragedy of that. Let me start this over then. That's the real problem that happened there. You know what I mean? Is that people thought and made up what they said he said. Kyrie didn't say anything. He reposted a video and it shouldn't have got the kind of response that it got. And people, again, like I said, rushed to judge. And in their rush to judgment, the community spoke up and defended him, which you have to do in these situations. Like, you have to stand there. And so the visual representation of all those Hebrews that came out on game night, this was last night or the night before, it was like a lineup. Remember the scene from the movie Malcolm X when Brother Johnson had gotten beat up by the police and then they had him in the police station and he needed medical attention and they wouldn't take him? Yeah. Kyrie donated, I thought it was $65,000, Tay, I thought Kyrie donated $65,000. Grant Cardone donated $10,000 to $15,000, and John Legier also donated about $15,000 to $20,000. So they did there was a whole lot of people, especially from Clubhouse. Those two individuals, John Legier and Grant Cardone, I know them. I know them from Clubhouse. We've been on stages together and spoken with many audiences. So it was cool to see them. If you go and look at if you go and look on the Shade Room's comments or whatever, I left a comment just thanking them and for a huge sign of respect. Chuck said, what's the difference with Kanye and Kyrie? Well, the difference is this. Kanye was very verbal about his stance and what he felt, and he said some inflammatory things. Kyrie said nothing. All he did was present a video. He didn't say watch it. He didn't say I loved it. He didn't form an opinion about it all. And so it's two different dynamics here being at play, but it shows how the anti-Semitic way that they wanted to label them makes no sense. And then I posted videos to help you understand that this was a construct that's always been in the conversation when anyone becomes what they call an obstructionist. So if you have a conversation and you're dealing with anyone from that community, from the Jew or Jewish community, and you happen to say something disparaging or something that they do not like, they will label you anti-Semitic as a way to get other groups like the ADL and other groups to jump on you and to villainize you in the public medium, because these places and these people are already there. Similar to how you can't say anything about the LGBTQ who was borrowing a page from that same book. They do the same thing. It wasn't a Netflix video, it's on Amazon Prime, Felicia. They are borrowing from that same manuscript. If you say anything about the LGBTQ community, they try to admonish you. Now, we'll circle back to that in a little bit. But check this out. I personally was like, most of these people who function this way are the biggest hypocrites. I'll give you an example. The LGBTQ community hit up Netflix and was like, yo, y'all need to take Dave Chappelle's stuff down. He's saying disparaging words. And all he was doing was, again, like Kanye and like Kyrie, saying his truth. He was bringing to light some truths that he's noticed. It may not be their individual experience, but it was some truths that he noticed. When the Dahmer movie came out, Netflix labeled it as a LGBTQ movie. They labeled it as a gay film, that because Jeffrey Dahmer clearly was gay. All he attacked and built relationships with were men, mostly black men. So it was it had the gay undertone. They went and petitioned. The LGBTQ community went and petitioned to get that label removed because they felt like it did not reflect their community properly. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's so hypocritical when he is exactly the people who are a part of your community. He's somebody y'all should be, you ain't got to be proud of him, but he is a part of your community. So when there's anything disparaging that comes out about these people, they run from it. You know what I'm saying? And if you are to say it, and if you're not a part of the community, similar to the joke that Dave Chappelle said, he said, you remember when he was dealing with the lady from Standards and Practices, he made a joke about it. He was like, yo, why is it I can say nigger without impunity, but I can't say the F word, right? And she says, well, because you're not gay. Well, he said, well, I ain't a nigga either. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those kind of things that we're dealing with. There's several hypocrisies, and you can't call people out on them. What up, Izzy? You know what I'm saying? You can't call it. Yep, it's not freedom of speech when you represent someone else. There is no such thing as freedom of speech, because your speech is not free. It's going to cost you something. Everything you say, especially in a public platform, costs you something. And the problem what I have with the Kyrie situation is do y'all know it's part of their contract that they have to sit and talk about the game? They have to, no. They have to sit and talk and be interviewed. Period. I think that's the most craziest thing ever, that you're going to force me to sit down with people who are going to attack me. So what happened after that, the day that those Hebrews showed up to the arena, they stood outside like it was a big show. Like I'm telling y'all, I want to say it's 300 to 500 people all dressed in purple and gold, representing the conversation, right? And then the interviewers, when they went in, they were trying to bait Kyrie. Well, Kyrie, what do you think about, the people who are out there who have said some anti-Semitic things and they represent anti-Semitism? How do you feel about them being out here on your behalf? And he told him, look, man, I just want to talk about basketball. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to get into that because y'all don't know how to manage that correctly. He said, I'll speak about my social and political thoughts and activism on another platform where I don't have to be defensive. You all attack me. You know what I'm saying? And I watched it, and it was and it's one of those things that he handled it very well. If y'all got a chance to see it, he managed those people extremely well. What up, Crystal? And that's all you can ask for, right? Now, on the flip side of that, of course, we got to be there in defense of that and hold it down, which leads me to another act that, whether y'all know this or not, right? I mentioned this yesterday. We know who controls these industries, whether it's the entertainment industry in a whole. I can't even put my finger on one or the other. It's the wholeness of the entertainment industry that has been monopolized. Now, one of the dopest things, I gotta find the video, but there's a TMZ clip where they got in, they got around Kanye West again, and they were about to talk to him, and they were asking questions. He pulls out this card that he made, or it was a phone or something that he made that had highlighted, and I told you about this. He highlighted, it was all the executives in entertainment, and 90% of it was Jewish at the top. So when we say he ain't telling the truth or he lying or something, the evidence is there. It ain't. If you do the research, you'll see that. I told you guys that in my dealings with being in the music industry that yes, it was his cell phone. Yeah, you saw it too. And all those tops. So you got to think, if they're the top that is filtered down, that they employ people, you know what I'm saying, similar to us. In black companies, we hire black people. In these companies, they hire people who reflect them and hold the positions that they want and the standards that they think they want them to have. Same thing. So this, coupled with everything else that I spoke about yesterday, is the reason why we didn't get a Chris Brown Sierra performance of Thriller on the 40th anniversary of the greatest entertainer of all time. We did not get that because of these reasons, because of the people who are in control. Now, the people who are in control had a problem with Michael Jackson because he said in one of his lyrics, he exposed them in a song. And that was the last, I want to say it's close to the last album we ever got from him. But we know that everything transpired from, some villainous things happened from there, and we talked about how Kanye West had a trainer that was trying to undermine him. Well, we understand that Michael Jackson had a physician that actually killed him. Dr. Murray actually killed Michael Jackson. And if you think it was a mistake, it wasn't. You got to understand that when you're a powerful person, when you're a person of extreme means and you are talking, or you're an obstructionist, or you look like you could be a black messiah, they are going to come after you. The problem is, and we've seen it. We saw it in the Black Panther movie with the Black Judas and the Black Messiah. They used somebody who looks like you. Same thing that happened with Michael Jackson. He thought he could trust this black man, and he could not. So we got to do more vetting. We got to really be in somebody. We really got to be in the mix of your friends. So this is part of the conversation that goes on with the Shinquella story, but we're going to talk about that another time. Now, what's even more, what up, Shalom? What's even more crazy is the apology. Yep, woo, Michael Jackson, Prince, Eazy-E, Bob Marley, and the list goes on. Tell me this, you guys. Have any of you guys, it was posted yesterday, did any of y'all see the AMA's apology? The American Music Awards made an apology that was the most narcissistic apology I have ever seen. At the end of it, they say, we just wanted to let you know that it wasn't Chris's fault. That it wasn't Chris's fault. And it was the most narcissistic response to the situation because nobody, not you, not me, not nobody, was blaming Chris Brown for the events. He had already admonished himself. That's right, Crystal. Anyone that stands up typically gets taken down. That's because we haven't set the barriers of protection around our people. But he was not the reason, and we knew it. We knew that he was not the reason. So all the backlash that they were getting, a narcissist was saying, the narcissistic response they gave was, it wasn't Chris's fault, which admonished them from taking fault that it was their fault. They talk about they couldn't get some things together. Well, Chris Brown and Sierra seemed to have it together. When you seen what they represented, you saw they had their parts done. What are we talking about? Blocking? They didn't come to rehearsal to block out the stage. Chris had a line in the front to know that's the front of the stage and he can't go past that part. I've been to those award shows. I know how they work. You go the week of the award shows, you guys are there, and they have a guy who's a dancer and a choreographer go through all the blocking with you. You go through, okay, so when the cameras, so they can line up cameras. They want to get the right shots for the right parts of the movement. They say, here, you're going to be here, and then when you do that, da-da-da, and make sure your next step is here, you're going to stand here for a few minutes and dance, da-da-da, while all this is going on. They choreograph everything. It's all on the ticker. What are you saying? So when they say they couldn't get it together, it wasn't that they couldn't get it together. Y'all do remember, they are not going to let there be a real tribute to the greatest entertainer of all times because it makes everyone else pale in comparison, and then you have to go back and pay attention to what Michael Jackson was saying. You have to go back and revisit the things that he stood for, and they don't want that. And this was also going to be a great moment to bring back, to take their foot off the neck of Chris Brown. It's been long enough. It's been too long that these people have had their foot on the neck of one of the greatest entertainers of our time. Letitia says, Scrap, please tell me what you watch to see all this that's going on. I only see what comes across my phone. No, I'm always watching, and plus some of the people I follow, Letitia, on my social medias, I see it all. You know what I'm saying? I just scroll through and all this new information comes up. You know what I'm saying? I stopped supporting those shadow shows, actually black only. True enough, Felicia, but we don't have a true, so the true, it's kind of crazy. I don't know where y'all shop at, right? We have a Publix by us and there's a Kroger by us, and I like Publix better than Kroger's. I just do. Do I know that there are more Krogers in the hood than there are Publix? Absolutely. And I say that to say BET is like Kroger's, while all these other award shows have all the funding, all the proper personnel working or something. I don't know what they do to get it right, but they got it right. Or maybe they don't got it right, but because they made the standard for it, it makes us look like what we're doing is wrong. So we have to do a whole lot of getting rid of the indoctrination that's on us. Like, think about that. Maybe we have all we need, but because we're still trying to compare it or to match it to others, that we see ourselves as falling short. Maybe that's what maybe that's what we need to revisit. Maybe Nikes and Adidas ain't the bombest. We just make it that, so we think it's that, versus going back and saying we have people who create ourselves and they probably got some fly stuff we need to be supporting. Maybe we need to rethink and recalibrate. I like recalibrate better. Maybe we need to recalibrate how we look at and how we think about things. Maybe we need to recalibrate not only our culture, but the dollars that are associated with our culture and what that means to the rest of the world. Maybe we just need to recalibrate. Maybe all the facility, all the tools are there, but we need to reshape the way that we deliver them to the rest of the world. Because currently, we admonish we don't admonish. We come down on ourselves for not meeting the levels that other people have set in their backyard. It's like playing basketball on a hoop that they've created. They've named the game. That's the best way I can put it. We're playing a game that somebody else has already set the rules for. And then we come in and we make the game better, but we still got to play by their rules. So why don't we just play the game how we play it, make the rules that are really mean something to us and give us the same kind of advantage or give us the same kind of leverage, and then we have to own it, woo-woo, so that we don't give it away. Because every time we've done something miraculous, every time we've done something amazing and marvelous and something that is world-renowned, every time that we've done something special, we've given it away. We've given it away for a little. We've given the wholeness away for a little bit. And that's where they get that little saying from that they try to trick us with. They say, well, you can have 100% of nothing, or you can have 50% of what I'm going to get you involved in. That's the bull crap they feed you. And I know every last one of y'all have heard that before in the conversation. Well, you can have 100% of nothing anytime you want it. Nah, it ain't 100% of nothing, because if it was 100%, this is what you got to listen to the words. If, in fact, it's dope enough for you to want to get involved with, clearly it's not nothing. Y'all got to listen to the words, because the word game will get you. They'll say to you, well, you can have 100% of nothing. If it was worth nothing, you wouldn't be interested in it. So don't feed me that. That's where you got to know your worth. That's where knowing your worth is your power. Many of us move around like we don't know our worth. Pay attention to the way they come at you. This is all game, and if you're not paying attention to it, you will believe. Malcolm X said it. You will you will believe the enemy over the righteous person in a heartbeat. You'll believe the person who's lying to you before you believe the person who's telling you the truth. We have to recalibrate the way we think. That's key. We got to recalibrate the way we think, because they're doing this stuff to us regularly and all the time, and we're victimized by it, and we decide to be the victims. Y'all heard me say in my conversation about Kanye and how he said we chose to be slaves. We are choosing in this age to be victims. How do you train and teach the conquerors? How do you train and teach those who are well strengthened and great minds? And how do you teach these people to be subservient to the rest of the world? How does that work? The whatever game that was put into effect, they got it figured out. And they've mind screwed us. People with powerful minds, we got mind screwed, and we're continuously living it out. It's got to be the funniest thing to somebody somewhere to look at the condition that we're in to say, these guys just don't get it. These guys just want to unplug. And let me tell you why. Why it's so hard to unplug. It's so hard to unplug because we're a part of the game. We are a part of the game in such a way that we can't even unplug from it because we're thinking that we still need to be a part of this game in order for this whole thing to work. We do not win. You're just a player. You're just one of those. You ever watch poker? On a poker table, there are people who know they're going to win because of their skill set and their ability to play. And then there are people who are contributing to the amount of money that person's going to win. That's us. We're the pawn in the game who's contributing to other people's winnings. If you ever gamble, you'll understand that there's going to be one or maybe two top winners, but there are going to be many people who contribute to that money that they win, to that success of that event. We are steadily supporting so many other people that we can't manage to get out of that game and support ourselves, or even understand that game isn't built for us. Those games aren't built for us. I said this the other day. I do not believe the educational system, the way it's set up, is built for us. Period. I'm just going to keep that one to 1,000. That's how I feel. And as long as you keep eating and chewing up the conversation that they keep giving you from grade 1 all the way to grade 12, or extended into college, we'll never get out of it. If we don't start saying we go homeschool and teach our kids the way, that's the open book. That's the way you nurture the gift of the child, not by putting them in the schools, because they gonna learn, they get the same old stuff. And when you see them do that and they excel, they don't move those people to another position and say, you are not of that, you are from a different branch, you're cut from a different cloth. We need to give you special attention. We need to, you know what I'm saying? Or they put it in plain sight, y'all. There's a movie called Hunger Games. They put it in plain sight. Most of us are divergent. By nature, you're divergent, and then you're taught to be all these other classes or subservient or put into these positions where you're now brain screwed into learning what everybody else is learning and thinking that that's the way. Come on, man. You are unique, and in your uniqueness is your power. That's the power that you have. You know what I'm saying? You have to get into your power. It's in your uniqueness. Unfortunately, they want us all to run the same gamut. They want us all on the same trail. It's easy to train everybody what to do. If you just do this, do it exactly like everybody else does. But I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to give you each all the same benefit. I got certain people I'm going to give this benefit to, and that's the way this company is set up. Similar to when two cars, one car with black people in it, one car with white people get pulled over, the conversation and the situation is totally different. I don't need anybody to co-sign that. Y'all have seen it. Y'all know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Period. So at some point, there's got to be a conversation that says, stop. What we haven't done yet, I'll tell y'all right now, that's one of the things that we haven't done, which is the easiest things to do, is just stand still. Just stand still. That's it. It doesn't require you to do anything else but stand where you are and hold that spot and watch things change. Jeff Martin says, get out of the matrix, it's the same old story. I agree, Jeff. It is the same old story. But getting out of the matrix isn't as easy as that conversation that you're trying to start. It's not as easy as that. And that's what we're talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? You have to take care of what you can manage. Nita, right? Take control of feeding our family. It's not only physically what you feed them. It's mentally what you feed them and spiritually what you feed them. That's what's up, trainer. I'm getting braided tomorrow, man. I have to let it out before I go. You know what I'm saying? Before I go back and get it done. My son is neurodivergent, but they say he's different. No, see, what they don't understand, they try to label. And most times they don't understand it, especially when it comes to black people, they like to label it some kind of deficiency because they can't tell you that it's a superpower. You know what I'm saying? No. The past is what helps you develop the present so you can make a better future, Jeff. That's just how it works. If you don't know what happened before you, and the education is screwed up in the past, Jeff, so that's why we have to reiterate it over and over again, because if it's left up to people like you who say you shouldn't live in the past, you will erase the history that that we've cultivated thus far. Because as you know, some people came to this country as slaves, some people's families and whatnot came to this country as slaves, and their history was lost. Their heritage was lost. And we're just regaining a lot of this information. So, and it's just being able to be used as power. Jeff, you do know, let me see, what are we in, 2022? You do know, Jeff, not even 100 years ago, let's go 70 years ago. So you understand that there are still people alive who were slaves. What are you saying? And you say, get on from the past. That is their past. Their past is they were a part of history. They were a part of the slavery. What are you saying? And B. Marley says, I don't see color. Unfortunately, then you're not a part of this system then, B. Marley, because this system moves and operates under that constraint. And if it moves and operates under that constraint and you say you don't see color, then you're a non-factor. And you have to be a factor. That's the whole big part about this whole thing. You have to be, you have to be a factor though. You know what I'm saying? That can be it. Jeff said, see, this is the problem. Jeff, please enlighten us all on what you think the problem is, because I'm explaining it to you as clearly as I can. And I think that because you're not a person of color, because you're not in my shoes, you can't properly see what the problem is. Because in this society, if you're in the United States, Jeff, you've been afforded certain privileges that allow you to say what you think the problem is and not be a part of it. You've never experienced the problem. So it's hard to hear that conversation without you saying, I understand where y'all are coming from. Nah, I'm saying we wear two different shoes, Jeff. Me and you can go into a store, walk separate ways, and I guarantee somebody's gonna follow me before they follow you. Jeff, we can both be driving, we can both be speeding, get pulled over by the same cop. He's gonna talk to you first, and then he's gonna talk to me. He gonna talk to you first, get your side of the story, then he gonna come talk to me. He may even tell you to drive off while he talked to me. I've been in those situations. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that's the way the system is set up. And so because I understand the system, I'm allowed to talk about it because I've been a part of those situations that I'm talking about. I'm not talking anecdotal in terms of this doesn't happen globally. This happens not only to me. I can sit down with half of the people who look like me and they say, yeah, I've had a disparaging experience with a white cop. I can just tell you that. I can, you know what I'm saying? No, I didn't say you haven't dealt with any problems. You notice I didn't say that. I said we both got pulled over. See how you missed the point? I said we both got pulled over, Jeff. See how, and that's kind of what the instance is when I communicate that conversation with people who are not black. When I say certain things, they admonish themselves. They remove the points that include them so that they can say you're standing over there by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different experience. So with that, that's why this conversation is so ongoing, is because we as a community still have to sit down and understand, more importantly, not only the problem, but the solution. And the solution is standing still, meaning we have to put in a situation you did before so we have to put ourselves in a position where we don't allow ourselves to continue moving forward until we stop and assess the situation. It's almost like being in the jungle, right? And you hear a sound. Do you keep walking towards that sound? Because I feel like that's what we've been doing as a community. We continue to walk. We keep walking towards that sound versus stopping and saying, hold on, what is that? What is the sound? Oh, okay, that's not what we should be doing. I should go another way. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those, it's we're continuously barreling through this thing. We're thinking that we can just run past it, but we haven't really faced it. We've talked about it, but we not that we haven't faced it. We haven't made the society at whole, we haven't made those power structures face what happened to us and what it should mean moving forward. We haven't broken down those things that are still in place that they built at those times where they were handling us. We haven't broken those things down. All those things still exist. All those things still exist. I don't think that you should defund the police. What I think you should do with the police is get rid of the bad ones. Period. Don't defund them. Get rid of the bad ones. But that will require honesty. And what they don't want is honesty. What we don't have in our society is honesty, not from those people who are in the power or in the authoritative positions, not from the government at the top all the way down. We don't have honesty. We think we should have it. We try to get it. We present the facts, but we don't get a reaction to the honesty that says, I'm sorry. How can I make it better? This is what I choose to do to help grow your community. We don't get that. That never happens. So we continue to move as hurt people who have not healed because the people who have previously hurt us still have the wound wide open because they're steadily using the devices that they used to cut us with back then. They're still cutting us with it today. And I didn't mean to go off on that tangent, but you know what I'm saying? I love when, you know, you have people who come in who have adverse opinions. You have to address it. You can't, us not addressing it would be hypocritical. It'd be just the same thing that we did, you know, that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? It is, yes, Alvin, it's going to be a challenge, period. No. They won't tell on themselves, Alvin, and that's the problem. But most of these people have bad raps. What up, Catherine? And Catherine said the same thing that you said, Alvin. Catherine on YouTube said, how do you get rid of the bad cops with such a close-knit organizations, right? So what you do understand is this. And it's going to take an organization outside of the cops because the cops won't police themselves. But do y'all understand that there are policemen who have records? Meaning there is a trail of paper from people who have complained about those police officers. Well, they got to go. You know what I'm saying? They got to go. Get them out. That's your first line. And when you see that, other cops will step up. Other people will say, you know what, man, yeah, that such and such is the same way. You know what I mean? If you get rid of the things that they take comfort in, like you cannot sue. I like that, Jeff. You can't sue the only way we're going to sue the government. True story, B. Marley. We have to hold them accountable. But again, it's like you complaining to your mom and dad about the rules that they set up in their house that they can change at any point. You know what I'm saying? They got to see something wrong with it first, B. Marley, before they can change anything. They got to see something wrong with it, and ain't nobody telling them themselves. Ain't nobody holding themselves accountable. Come on, man. They're the highest level of corruption. They're not gonna do nothing to harm themselves. It's going to take an outside entity. Period. True story. The whole thing about why we have police officers. It wasn't to police other white people. It was to police black people from the gate. And they're just extending that. And a lot of these people know the history of the police force. What are we saying? People are educated in what they want to be excited about being educated about so they can move forward in it. And it needs to be, the education that most black people need is not promoted. That's the best way I can say it. It's out there. We just don't promote it. We don't manage it. Like we don't tell them we need economics in schools. We don't tell them, like right now we're fighting. I can't believe we're doing this, but we're fighting for the critical race theory. We're fighting to hold on to what little black education is being taught. We're fighting for that. Can you believe that? We're fighting for that. But I would tell you, if you look at other communities, they create the atmosphere and environment for their kids to know their heritage. They have a whole shrine system kind of set up. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go to it. I told y'all this. You can go to Little China anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the United States, y'all can go to Little China. And in that, you'll see replications of old ancient places and all that. It's things that make you ask questions. Y'all really want to stir things up? Start erecting some of these statues of slaves. Start erecting some of those things and watch how that don't change stuff. That's right. Shalon, So 100 said that the other issue is that these cops, when they get fired from your city, they go take their resume to another city and they get hired back up and they keep on doing the same thing. And that's a challenge. That's something that has to be, it needs to be a nationwide thing, but it isn't. And there's a little bit, I get it. There's a little bit of, well, you can't keep your foot on somebody's back the whole time. I just said they need to choose another career. That one didn't work out. Would you, or are you able to, if you get disbarred if you get disbarred as an attorney, you can't go nowhere else and practice that. Like if you're a chef and you get caught poisoning people, you can't go be a chef nowhere else. If you're a doctor who is renowned for doing certain heinous crimes, you can't go nowhere else and work. The police station is the police officers are the only ones who can take they jacked up resumes and go get jobs elsewhere. Why? Because if you could put this thing on and you can protect the man next to you, they don't care what your history was. They don't care. They don't care what it is and what it was. So that's the unfortunate part. I think that you need to label them just like you would label what up enough. Same way you would label those people who do the child molester. What's the word that they named? What up, Donald? What's the name of the thing that they label them? Sex offenders. The same way they have a sex offender. This is what I don't understand. I said this over that stretch of period of time where so many black men were getting killed. I said this, and it still bothers me to this day. Why is there no registry, public registry, like there's a public registry of sex offenders in your area? Why is there no public registry of police officers who have taken lives? Sheffield say go to any museum and see everything about other races and their heritage. Then they try to pacify us with a short month of watered down history. I told you we changing that though, Chef. This Black History Month, we're gonna change the world. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all realize that? That's what we have to create. Well, I said it. I said that I don't understand why there isn't a directory of all those police officers who have done things against the community, especially those who have killed other black men. I mean, police officers that have killed these black kids and these men. Why do they get, this is the part that pissed me off, because the effects of what they do reverberate throughout a community for life. Those deaths against the Eric Garners and the Castillos and all those different people, Sandra Bland and all those people that got killed, that reverberates throughout our community. And guess what happens? Unless you are synonymous with the one guy who put his neck on Derek Chauvin or whatever, unless you're as synonymous as Derek Chauvin, guess what the rest of those people got to do? Every last one of those cops that was in that situation where Eric Garner got choked out, y'all don't know who he is, and he could walk by you tomorrow and you wouldn't have any idea. He could walk by you and be chilling. That's the problem I have. All these people can be chilling. There's no way you're going to assault a family member of mine and not walk around for the rest of your life with your looking over your shoulder. I am sorry. There should be a book or a database that has their picture, the area they live in, and all that. Same way you would do that with these sex offenders, because they're just as bad. That's important. Now, when we talk about change, that's the part of the change. That's right, Donald. We are affected by it. The acts of these police officers, whether it's a false arrest, whether it's planting drugs, whether it's the wrong convictions on these judges. I'm not just saying the police officers. I'm saying all the way up and down, the judicial system is screwed up. And those people, there needs to be a database. If we don't do it, who else going to do it? Because they ain't going to do it. We need to create a database in each of our cities that we cultivate as a whole throughout this country that says the people who did this to Sandra Bland are living comfortably here. the people who did this, and keep up with them just like they do with these sex offenders. Because the sex offenders is bad because the victims have to live with the tragedy of it all, but they got time to heal and they get to live a full life. Whether it's marred, marred because of it, they still get to rebuild and live a whole life. These police officers that are taking lives, there's no way they should. Their conscience is free and clear, and you can see it every time they show up in court looking for the way out. Not one of them says, you know what? I made a bad judgment call, Your Honor. Whatever you see fit to punish me, I'm willing to do it. Give me 1 second, y'all. We'll take a pause for the calls for a second. Now wait a minute. Y'all know what y'all supposed to be doing, right? When I do a pause for the calls like that, that's an opportunity for y'all on YouTube to hit the like button, to purchase you see it right there, super thanks, a super chat, or any of that kind of stuff. TikTok, it's an opportunity for y'all to continue to like and share the live. Our live shares are low. On Instagram, y'all can share the live and whatnot and invite some other people in. But these are the times when I take those small breaks, you know what I'm saying, for y'all to participate in the activity of spending some social digital currency. If you don't know what social digital currency is, you can always go to my YouTube channel. I discuss what social digital currency is, how you should spend it, how you benefit from it, and how the host of whatever show you're watching or how the person who's bringing the conversation to you benefits from it as well. Anyway, so, I didn't want to go off on a whole tangent about the disparity in that, but let's keep it moving. So, also in the news, Balenciaga is doing what a lot of these companies have done from day one. They're giving you the middle finger in plain sight. This new ad that they have where they're talking about child bondage or whatnot. Y'all do know that like a lot of these people are all, a lot of these people were, and I would say to some degree are probably still engaging in the activities that they were into with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of them didn't change because he got arrested. They just dialed it back and went low key and tried something else. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that if you have the kind of resources and you have the kind of information that Jeffrey Epstein had, that there's no way in the world that you hung yourself in jail. Rosie said, what would be the determining offense to qualify on the registry when they're always found not guilty? It's not about being guilty. This is a public registry. So it's not whether they're guilty by the judicial system. This is about being guilty, period. Because they're going to say, even in the Ferguson case, that Mike Brown was guilty, but he wasn't. And those guys got off. But you and I know better. So that's what I'm saying. We don't have the same kind. I said we don't have the same kind of justice. We don't get the same kind of justice. So the metrics in which finds them guilty for us would be different anyway, because the judicial system doesn't favor us. It wasn't built for us. The Constitution was not built for us. So how can something that wasn't built for us support us in this situation? That's the real funny part that they present, is that you actually think you, who were at one point not even considered human, you were 2/3 of a human, you who we weren't even going to let vote, you who had to be told you were free by people who were automatically free, believe that there's a system out there that's going to treat you right. Like, it sounds crazy when I say that, don't it? Don't it sound crazy? That a group of people sat down and wrote laws that had nothing to do with anyone but people that look like them. That's the first part. After they wrote these laws, they said, let's put it out here for the rest of the world. Let's see how it works. Okay, But who are these people? They don't look like us. What can we do with them? Let's make them. Why not make them work for us? Yeah, and then tell them that they're not free. How do you tell them that they're not free and that they have to work for a white person in order to stay here? Now, you can do whatever you want to do to it. Now, that just shows you. Now, when you think about what happened to those slaves, that just helps you understand the mentality and how evil people are and were. You know what I mean? I like that, Woo. She said that we should go after their insurance bond. You know what I'm saying? But as I continue, the things that were set up before don't work now because we've evolved on every level as a people, and we require something else now. We require justice. We require justice. And I'll start making sure people understand that, woo-woo, that the insurance bond is what you want to go after when you're going after these police officers. You want to get them to lose their insurance bond because they can't get employed that way. Got it. We have to go, and I know the guy that was in here earlier was talking about, we always talk about the past. That's because the past isn't fixed. Do you know we have not changed an amendment, which is the 13th Amendment, that needs to be done with? Kanye West tried to bring it up, but of course it was not disseminated properly. They wanted to make him seem crazy so that we would not actually look at it. The video that should be a #1 on Netflix is called 13. It's going to anger you like crazy if you happen to watch it, but you need to watch it because it's going to help you understand what this cycle of events that led us to this place right now. The cycle of events started long before any of us were ever born, but it's still applicable today because they showed you the transformation of what was written then and how it's being played out. And it will, if we allow them, they will continue to adjust it. They will keep adjusting it and tweaking it and make it work until we stop. I keep telling y'all, we just need to stop and say nothing happens from this day forward until it's fixed. You can't complain about a squeaky tire and keep driving on it. You can't complain about a squeaky tire but keep driving on it. At some point, you got to stop and say, I got to fix this tire. We have been, for the better part of our lives and our parents' lives and maybe our parents' parents' lives, have been driving on a squeaky wheel. Now, our parents' were trying to fix the wheel, but they only had one guy using the jack. Everybody should have been lifting it up. So if one person was unable to do it, that there will be other people there to hold it in place. That's been the issue that we've had when it comes to leadership and how they manage our leadership. Our leadership has always been one singular person. We've had a Tupac. We've had a Farrakhan, or we have a Farrakhan. We have a Malcolm and a Martin and a Nat and a Marcus. But we don't have a range. And I think that's what was one of the managing points why some things got done while the Black Panthers were involved, because there were several of them. Several of them. Yeah, it seems crazy, right? It's one lifetime, Felicia, just about one lifetime, which is one generation before us. So at some point, what up, controversy? At some point, we gotta stop and say we are no longer driving on this wheel. Now, when you stop the car, that means nobody gets to work. That means things stop. And the only thing they care about in this corporation nation is money. If we understand, so listen, when you're raising kids or when you're dealing with people, you always need to discover what their currency is. And when I say that, I mean, you want to know what is going to make people active or non-active. What is it that I can do that's going to make you stop and say, I don't want to continue down that road? What is it? What is America's currency? And for us to act like we don't know what it is, we know what it is. It's money. We know the currency that means something in this America is money. So if we are two things, we are the biggest consumers, meaning we spend the most money. How are we spending the most money if we're not making no money? So people can't talk about we're not working. You can't call us lazy because clearly we're making the bread to spend the bread. You can't count any of the money that you're given. You know what I'm saying? We're consumers. If we are the locusts of money when it comes to that, then they've played every piece of this thing properly, meaning they got it so set up that you're willing to spend that money building what they're putting together versus building what you need, and you won't even stop to examine the circumstances. In the last 2 years, if the things that have happened during the whole COVID thing didn't teach you to just stop and be still so you can see things properly, you've lost your mind. I say that to say this. In the year of 2020, if you didn't stop and examine all of the things they were doing to inundate your mind, to get you manipulated into thinking how they wanted you to think, then you don't get it. They even went as far as to say they had an event talking about, this was in 2019, they had an event trying to figure out how to get black people on board with what they were about to offload. They took a whole day from this event to say, how do we get black people who are going to be the most resistant? How do we get them to buy into this? That was a whole conversation, y'all, with a group full of white people, with the Bill Gates and a whole bunch of other influential people who could put the money behind the marketing. How are we going to get them to take this? In 2020, you should have understood that if you survive 2020, you can survive all of it. Check this out, y'all. If you could survive 2020, you could have survived 21 without a vax. If you survive 2020 without it, I'm going to say it one more time. If you survive 2020 without getting a shot, you could have survived 2021 and beyond without it. I'm going to say it again. In 2020, you were labeled a survivor. In 2021, you forgot you were a survivor. You forgot that you made it through that point in time in history. Why would I need to do anything different when I've already managed? If you listen to the whole conversation they had about it, where they said, should you get it, you develop the antibodies like you do with any other virus, so you no longer have to worry about the effects of it that much. If you listen to the press, if you go by what they said, all of us caught it in 2020. Think about it. They were saying these numbers were so crazy that there was no way you were going to escape it. And they didn't talk about the people who, remember, they're going to give you the conversation that they want you to have. So the people that survived it didn't even hear the conversation like, congratulations. I said that at the end of 2020, before the vax came out, I said, congratulations, y'all made it. I went the whole 2020 without catching it. I did that on purpose. I hope y'all understand that I purposely went 2020 without catching it. I worked out, I ate great, I was in the sun, I was out, I was chilling. In 2021, in January, before any of these vaccines and stuff came out, I was like, somebody close to me got it, and I was like, I'll get it now. I'll get it. And I got it. And I went through it. And I came out of it. I came out of it stronger and better than I went into it. I promise you. And it was surprising to me because I ran further and more comfortable than I ever did after I had COVID. So I realized there were some lies being told. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, and then I don't want to get into that too much. I just want y'all to understand that we have all we need, and we just got to move from that space. You know what I'm saying? We just need to continue doing that. Donald said, I haven't caught it, and then he said, then again, I'm not sure. That's right, because they aligned it with something that was so common that it would blur your what you already know. It'll undermine it. Lastly, I'm gonna touch on this last subject, man, for today, because I knew I needed to get on and talk to y'all because a few things that happened. In pop culture. Well, let me put this out here right quick. For anybody in the Atlanta area, Goody Mob is performing tomorrow night. I just want to put that out there. If y'all like concerts, Goody Mob is performing tomorrow night before Thanksgiving. But in other news that I know has caught a lot of y'all off guard. What do y'all think about? I guess the question is, do you believe it's real or do you believe it's fake? I happen to know some things, but I'm just curious. What do y'all think about August Alsina declaring his love publicly for another man? If it's new news to you, I just want you to know August Alsina said he's in such a great space in his heart and his mind because he found someone who helps him understand what true love is, and he is in love with another man. He brought him out on the reality show the other night and introduced the public to his to the person he feels helped him there. None of y'all saw that? Is this new news to y'all? Is this breaking news? What? Is this breaking news? Breaking news, y'all. Breaking news. I didn't know it was breaking news, man. Yeah, August Alsina last night, brought out his friend on the reality TV show, The Surreal Life. And Felicia said, I blame Jada. I saw that and I didn't know it was a man. Yeah, that was a dude, Angela. What up, Lost Girl in London? What up, Quest? August Alsina, he gave a little speech beforehand. He said, I just want to profess my love, and he said, because it's not conventional or against what people conventionally say, you know what I mean? Donald said, I think it's amazing. I kind of got confirmation from someone in the industry that he was bi, but I'm proud of him. Glad he's in a better health as well. Yeah. Yeah. Something my future boyfriend. That's funny, mama. Yeah. So, and this, he's Felicia's funny. Yeah, Sassy. Y'all can check. If y'all look on, do a search on Google, just type in his name, and I'm sure that's going to be the top conversation. Because we've kind of seen some of the different things that he's been a part of when it comes to the media, and you would never have seen that coming. I see you, Mafia Tokyo. You would not have thought that would be a conversation. Angela said they always take the good ones. That's hilarious. Angela, I can tell you many fellas would say the same things about the lesbian community. Okay? The studs be competing. How about that? That's funny. Letitia said these artists are all over the place. They don't know what the hell they want to do. Scrap, are you going to come out and surprise us? Come out and what? Come out to a party? Yeah, I might come out and hang out with y'all, but ain't nothing to come out here. This is out as it gets. This is out as it gets. I ain't no. She said you gonna come out. I come outside and hang out. That's about as out as it gets. Yeah, that's Felicia said that. I think that's a whole nother conversation though. Like, and I know y'all not. A lot of times I think y'all not ready for that conversation. Yeah, slut. I'm changing it though. The fro is only for the I'm getting first thing tomorrow. I won't be on this early tomorrow, just like I wasn't on early today. But I'm getting my hair done. In the morning, shawty. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. That Letitia's funny. But see so that's what we're dealing with as a society. I don't know if y'all really want to have the conversation to put things out there in perspective for people who don't understand the alternative lifestyles. You know what I'm saying? I know it's crazy. That it's such a it's more, it happens more now, or it's a part of society more now. I hate seeing the word live backwards. Let me do that. There we go. It's such a huge big deal right now, but nobody wants to really talk about it. Nobody really wants to talk about what that actually means. Because reading your Donald's comment, Donald said, yeah, he had heard throughout the industry that August was bi. Now, if you go to, and I'm not judging him or anybody for that matter, but I just want to help y'all understand exactly the conversation that's out there. If you go to any heterosexual male and say that a man slept with another man, he's not going to say he's bisexual. That's not going to be part of the conversation. You do not get a pass just because I mean, you don't get a pass on the conversation of being considered gay because you still sleep with women. No, you're gay. You sleep with women. That's the difference. And it's a big conversation that I know people don't want to have, the transgender conversation, the LGBTQ conversation, because it's because the conversation that surrounds it, to me, judge me how you want or whatever, there are parts of it that are not rooted in logic. And I just talk about, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just telling you my logic and how I see things and the people that I hang around with and the people that I know and how it's been a majority of my life. Now, that doesn't make it right. I always preface that. It doesn't make it right. Nah, so because women can't be, I can't even say that. It's not that, Felicia, because you can't dial that back when you do that, Felicia. Like, you can't dial that act. When you buck break another man, you can't dial that back. That is what it is. Even when the white men did it to the slaves, they were gay. Because no man, heterosexual man, would engage in that activity unless they were. That's a gay man activity. And so they try to, that's right, no returns. That ain't it. You don't, unless you were raped is probably the only time that you can be absolved from that, but you can't be absolved that a gay activity happened to you. You're not gay because your mentality isn't in, you don't have an interest for another man. That's a difference. And nobody wants to have that conversation because it's rooted in logic. And when you think about the conversation that surrounds that conversation in the community, that nobody wants to talk about those things from a logical standpoint. You absolutely can't talk about the transgender community and use logic as a base point because they want you to expel logic from the conversation because the conversation about it requires you to live a fantasy. It requires you to live a what if conversation. It requires you to bend the rules. Is a better way to say it. Talking about transgenderism requires you to bend the rules as they are bending them and praying and hoping and pushing for society to accept it. I'm sorry, I don't subscribe to it. Y'all heard my opinion on transgender. It's still man eyes, a man's tongue, man's arms, man elbows. It's still a woman's feet. It's still a woman's calf muscles. It's still a woman's. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all do understand, like, I can't wrap my head around somebody dressing up as somebody else and then swearing up and down I'm supposed to say that's what you are. And I have a problem with that. Then they like to take it to the biological side saying, oh, you don't know what you are until you're born. True story. But once you're born is when it matters. Once you're born, you have an identity. And that's your identity. And a lot of people, their conversation always starts before birth. Oh, well, we all, when you're in the womb, you have a woman's chromosomes and a man's chromosomes. Yeah, but that doesn't matter if you're never born. If you are born, you have one. And your body will identify what that one is. But that's a conversation for another time, man. I just want to, it's a deeper conversation, and I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I want to tackle that conversation. I don't know what the benefit is in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what the benefit is of it. Or I don't want to challenge that community because, again, I operate from a different space. My perspective is based on logic. And if it don't make sense, I can't, you know what I'm saying? And you can't talk to people. You can't talk to people who don't make sense because they'll win every time because they've been not making sense longer than you've been making sense. You know what I'm saying? To that degree, they'll be more specialists at doing that than you are. Like, I can't think stupid. There's some stupid people that be trying to bait me into talking stupid or thinking stupid, and I can't do it. I know I'm going to lose. So I don't engage in those conversations. In fact, I just try to import more logic on them so they can understand, like, hey, you can say what you want from the rooftop and whatnot, but you're not going to change what right looks like. You can't change right into a wrong. You know what I'm saying? They try to use history. Like, there was nothing right about slavery. Although the people who were doing it were the ones, well, Latanya, they felt like they were right. But they couldn't have felt that way because it was so wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. There's so much of a lie in that. You know what I'm saying? Felicia says, what if you have a child? I don't even know where the rest of that sentence went. I'm going to look for it. Anybody seen the rest of Felicia's sentence? What if you have a child? I cannot. Woo. Yeah, Dr. Cassell, you can't, like, that's a hard thing to do, man. Like, to really, like I said this in a previous podcast, 3 words that are detrimental to everybody is I didn't think. I don't have the luxury of doing that. I don't have the luxury of saying I didn't think. The moment I don't think, something goes wrong, either at my expense or the expense of somebody else's. And because I care about other people and I'm very considerate, I like to pay attention, you know what I'm saying, to those things. Felicia says, what if you have kids? Like, what do you mean? In what context are you saying that? If you have a kid that is debating one of those circumstances? I mean, a lot of this comes from how we raise our kids. You know what I mean? It's a lot of the opinions, our kids' opinions are based off of how we bring them up, meaning what we manage and what we don't manage. If you take your hands off the wheel, your kid will drive wherever they want to. But if you keep their hands on the wheel and you tell them why this is the position their hands should be in, and if you tell them this is the speed limit and this is what you should do and da-da-da-da, they understand better and they'll respect you and they kind of go by what you're saying. What up, Smitty? So it's important that we do that. Like, a lot of the kids that we're watching, a lot of these confused kids or whatever, parents have taken their hands off the wheels. You know what I'm saying? They've said, I can't deal with this. He's this and that. Like, and again, if we want to dial that back, in addition where your kid goes to school and how engaged you are, that's all that stuff, Dr. Cassell, all those things matter. And when it comes to creating a culture of nourishment for your kid's mind on what they should be consuming and regurgitating, a lot of us don't manage those kids well. You could tell a well-managed kid. Shoot, in the black community, you know a kid who got a whooping and a kid who didn't. Y'all know who y'all know what parents is spanking their kids and which parents ain't. Hooligan said kids will eventually become their own person and have their own beliefs. Yes and no. Your kids should never develop these their own beliefs. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you should allow your kids to even, the minute your kid, because typically your kids are going to bring it to the table. There's no way your kids should be steered into those other directions, and no one should have more influence over your kids than you. And if they do, you have to manage the time you spend with your kid, because nobody should have that. Nobody has more influence over my kids than me, period, point blank, period. They can't just run game on my kids because I'm already letting them know what's up. I'm already putting them up on game. I'm already giving them the history that they need. I'm already saying, listen, I know you like this person. I know you like these things, but listen, just manage yourself accordingly. Everything ain't what it should be. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly it, Dr. Cassell. Worldviews are through the lens the parent provides. If you don't structure your household in a way that commands the respect of your children, then your children will do what they want to do. Point blank, period. If your kids don't respect you, you lose. And they will go out into the world and they will disrespect others and they'll pick up what they want. They'll use what they think works. And you'll be there. Of course, you always say this, I'll be there to pick you up, da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? Yes, they work hand in hand, Hooligan, but there also is that stronger part, and it depends on, there's a huge part in how parents teach, right? Some parents like to navigate their kids' lives a little bit differently. As you will be, because society changes things and whatnot. There are some old-fashioned values that have to live through generations. Like, there are things that should be standards in households, regardless what the TV says, regardless what the schools say. there should be standards that you create that should live past your generation and beyond. Respect being one of them. Don't allow your kids to ever get away with disrespect. You know what I mean? Don't allow, there's certain things that once you put them in play, you got to double down on them and support it. Because the minute that again, kids, especially nowadays, because they're being groomed to have short-term memory. Kids are being groomed to have short-term memory. The programs that they watch are fast-moving and on a flick. They said SpongeBob SquarePants is one of the culprits of showing all these scenes and these activities. If y'all don't notice, the kids nowadays want to do 2 or 3 things at once without completing one thing that they were already supposed to be doing. That's why you got to settle them down, chill out, and you got to stay on them. You may not want to manage them as much as you want to, but you have to nowadays. And let me tell you the other part, and this is how you understand how it's been constructed to work this way. There used to be a time, most of us had the opportunity, if we didn't have both parents in the house, we had an auntie and uncle, we had other people who could stand in the fold. But that doesn't happen now because work needs to be done, money needs to be made, and we all out here hustling. Everybody's hustling. And we got to get to the place where we say, I am going to manage these kids while you go out and do this or the other. Because that creates the safe space for these children. That creates the consistency that they need. That creates the foundation that gives you an opportunity to raise your kids against all those outside forces. They will cling to you instead of pushing away from you. They will cling to you instead of pushing away from you. And that's how you raise your kids. That's how you maintain the household that you want to create. You can't take your hands off the wheel, because the minute that you do, especially now, like our parents could probably take their hands off the wheel a little bit, because where was we going to go? Shoot, you didn't have no iPad to take you around the world in a heartbeat. You didn't have a cell phone to call up anybody you wanted to escape where you was at. You had to read or play sports. You had to be active with other people. You had to learn how to communicate in the society that was there. And you didn't stray far away from home, nor did you stray far away from the way you were taught. That's why our generation ain't so screwed up, and that's why they're not coming for you. That's why most of the programming out there isn't for you. It's for them. It's why they're showing you gay Sesame Street characters. That's why they're showing you, using cuss words in cartoons, and that's why they have gay cartoon characters. That's why all these things are out there, because they ain't coming for you. Why? Because you know better. You know better. You were raised different. You didn't have all this access. Why are we allowing them to have so much access? Take that cell phone, take that iPad, and make them forced to live in the confinement of what they're around. We have hired a new babysitter, and it's called YouTube. It's called Snapchat. It's called Gotcha. It's called what are some of these different things that they use? It's called all those things. It's called TikTok, for that matter. It's called YouTube Shorts and all that. Everyone else is raising our kids but us, because we gave them access, and access to these devices keep them out of the way. But keeping them out of the way costs you. It costs you the relationship you should be building with them that should be stronger than the relationship that the world is building with them. I know y'all don't want to hear that. I know y'all don't want to acquiesce to your involvement. No parent wants to say they're the problem. No parent wants to say that they're complicit. But what do? Especially when you train them on an iPad, when you train them on these iDevices, guess what the hardest thing to do is? It's to entertain your kids. Because they come to you. When they don't have those devices, they come to you. They come to you. They want to do stuff. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that. And because we've depended on these devices to manage that portion of spending time with them, we negate our responsibility to them. And I'll tell y'all right now, kids grow up pretty quick, man. And if they grow up quick, that means they develop quick. And if they develop quick and you don't have an input in that development, they can be and become, you're right. That's true what they said. You can become whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You ain't got to worry about being. You can discover yourself, and that's what these kids are doing. Maybe I'm gay because I think girls are cute. Why not? MTV says it's cool. I'm just saying. Letitia said there's a cool spot called Gracie's Corner. It's a great learning for children. That's with a black base or whatnot. Do y'all get it though? Like I hope I ain't mean to offend nobody. If I offended y'all, I'm sorry, man. That was not my I know I stepped on somebody's toes. And the crazy part about information is when you find or when you hear something that makes sense, when you hear some new information that should change the way you think prior, you're obligated to do something about it now. And that's kind of like, I kind of like doing that. I kind of like communicating and putting people up on some new conversation, a new perspective, so you could change it. Shalom, so 100 said the TV was my generation's babysitter. Absolutely, but that they also introduced MTV in that generation, and MTV was the first real show that you saw. Again, they said this is reality TV. They said this is real, y'all. This is what's happening for real. And we know how much we like real stuff, y'all. You know how we like to keep it real. They said this is real, and showing you these alternative lifestyle individuals. Maybe your kid is like this, or maybe they want to be like this, or they put these images out there so that when you take your hands off the wheel, there'll be somebody there, or there'll be an opportunity there. You got to realize all society needs is an opportunity. Your job is not to allow them to have an opportunity or their way with your kid. Society is trying to pimp. It is trying to manipulate. It is trying to take over your kid. That's what's up, Rozzy. She said, I just paused by what and how you said it. Thank you. And I try to break it down like that. I try to make the examples kind of just easy to consume, because a lot of times the way it's explained is over our, they shoot over our heads because they don't want you to get the information. And there's not too many people who would break it down so you can understand better. Like this is essentially what's happening now. And then when you hear it, you be like, what? You'd be enraged, but the information is always there in plain sight. Like when I was talking about this Balenciaga thing, they showed the ad. There's an ad of little girls looking like they're in bondage, like in the sexual bondage way, right? Ironically, if you could zoom in on the papers that are on the table from the scene. Now, if you can zoom in on the papers on there, they have in writing what looks like files or paperwork from when they shot down the child pornography thing in the Supreme Court. On the table in this ad for children's stuff showing a bondage scene, it has an in writing, if you zoom in on it, where they're saying that there was a law where they were trying to ban this kind of child pornography or something like that, and it didn't get banned. And they were literally just saying, look at that. That's how diabolical this stuff is. So what you're not paying attention to is I can't even say they're hiding it. It's everything that's happening is in plain sight. That's how ignorant to knowledge they believe we are. That's how ignorant to understanding they believe we are. And they are right. As a whole, black, white, otherwise, we are not critical thinkers, and we're very selfish in our approach to how we deal with life. I wish at times I had the loudest megaphone so I could say to people sometimes, just stop. Do you know no one in this country would have had to been forced to take a vaccine if when they threatened everybody with the loss of job, if they said, well, do the work yourself, we ain't gonna do it. Y'all already trying to replace us with robots and stuff. We gonna stop because y'all ain't doing this to us. Do you know what message that would have sent how that would have reverberated around the world when we're trying to be world leaders, when we're trying to show people the way. Do y'all know how big that would have been if everybody just said, nope, not doing it? Y'all said nope in 2020. Y'all said nope in 2020 and didn't know you were saying nope. I don't know why people didn't believe what they believed in 2020. Then they trying to, listen, I hope y'all understand that they're trying to, I don't know if they did it or not, but they're trying to make it an immunization policy for your kid to have a COVID shot to attend school. All because nobody stood up. That's how it works though. When the adults don't stand up, the kids are affected. When the adults don't make a big to-do about it, the kids are affected. And then you're fighting from behind, trying to undo something that should have never been. In 2020, guess what? I can say this with the utmost confidence. In 2020, you all, anybody on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and everywhere else, you all survived without a COVID shot. I can say it with the utmost confidence. In 2020, all of y'all survived without a vaccine. And nobody can take that fact away from me. At the height of COVID, you all survived. I'm going to give y'all a round of applause for that. I'm going to give y'all a round of applause. Because all of you survived in 2020 without a vaccine. Why didn't they say that to you in 2021 when they had the vaccine? Why wasn't it, hey man, you know what? It's optional. Felicia, that mask didn't work. That mask didn't work. I didn't wear a mask the whole time. I'm telling you right now. The mask I did wear, let me show y'all the mask. I'll show y'all the mask that I wore during COVID. And I only wore this mask. I only wore this mask when it was mandatory. So the only place that I ever needed a mask that was mandatory was the doctor's office and on flights. I have videos. If y'all go check my Instagram and other socials where y'all see me boarding planes with this mask on. Nope. And I wore a hoodie on top of that. So imagine, I'm going to show y'all exactly how I look. This was me on every flight. This was me on every flight. Every flight I was on. Y'all wanna make me wear a mask? This is the mask I choose. Period. That was me. Some of y'all probably been on a flight with me and didn't even know it. Some of y'all was probably on a flight with me and didn't even know it. And people looked at me like, yo, what the, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, if I gotta wear it, a lot of people was like, yo, that's a good one. They was like, yo, that's a good one. Because it was such you don't understand. If I can't, remember what I told y'all about stupid? Like, I can do stupid, but if I'm gonna do it my way. But I didn't wear a mask the whole time. Never caught it, never gave nothing to nobody, none of that. But you all have to remember, we can't rely on our short-term memory. We can't take our hands off the wheel. We got to be active in all things at all times. And we got to get back to a place where we got somebody who is confidently and consistently raising these kids. Period. And if we have to, we need to develop some programs where there's an after-school program where kids are getting what they need, and educationally, socially, and the whole nine. Because without it, other people can have their way with it. Take those iPads, take those iPhones. I understand there's a thing called screen time where they have to ask permission for certain apps for them to use and stuff like that. But everybody needs to have that, and everybody needs to be up on that, and it needs to be structured. And not only is it just giving them the option of time to use it, but you should be actively looking at what they're using it for. These kids are smart. These kids want to know stuff. They want to be informed. If you take away any outside ways for them to get it, then you can know it. I remember back in the day when the boys would have masks over their face, they are a criminal. That's right, Angela. I said that too. Like, I be thinking, I ain't care. So 100 said, how did the children react to your mask? I didn't care because I needed the kids to see, I needed their parents to explain to the kids, like, he's making fun or whatever they want to say. You know what I'm saying? How could something that was hurting you, when it comes to these masks, all I could think of is how can something that's debilitating also be beneficial? And I kept that in my mind. What up, Thriller? I kept that in my mind throughout it all. How could wearing a mask be beneficial when it's already constricting my breathing? If you're constricting my breathing, then you're assisting COVID because COVID was a respiratory virus. Similar to, some of y'all might not want to hear this, but I guarantee, most people died on those ventilators. And we can leave it at that. We ain't got to discuss it. But the process of putting it, the ventilators, they had to sedate you and put a tube in your mouth, and they made it so that your lungs didn't do the work, that the oxygen they gave you did the work. But that's another conversation. What up, Tariana? So, for those of you who are just joining, man, I wish y'all would get here earlier. Y'all got to follow me and turn on notifications. Because I come for a certain amount of time, you know what I'm saying? I can't let y'all take up all my time, especially when y'all be buying badges or gifts and appreciating the time I be spending with y'all. Because shoot, I got to go make money because y'all ain't paying me. Yeah, it is crazy, right, Tariana? Listen, for those of y'all here on my live, make sure y'all are hitting the like button, sharing the live. If y'all do anything, man, follow me on YouTube. YouTube is the best way to support anybody that y'all see going live because it doesn't cost y'all anything but your time. The same time y'all spend on TikTok, the same time y'all spend on Instagram, guess what they do on YouTube? On YouTube, that time actually equals money. That time actually equals value. Now, I think value should be reciprocated because I think y'all enjoy me being on here with y'all. I think y'all, judging how often we all get together and how, how much I get on with y'all. I think y'all appreciate my time and my conversation. So let's take it a step further. Until the podcast gets, blessed with being on one of these, it's the same, Tariana. It's Dwight_Scrap_Reynolds. I'm branding it. It's the same across all platforms. But your subscribing on my YouTube helps out. You're actually using your time to watch some of the videos, past and present, goes a long way. I mean, y'all ain't got to reach into your pockets. That's the funny part. Y'all ain't got to reach into your pockets. There are platforms that are reaching to their pockets just for you being there. I don't think I explained that enough. One day I'm going to have a conversation about the monetization that's across all these platforms. I think it's important for you all to know how to spend your social digital currency, but also convert that social digital currency into actual currency. And the cool part is some of this stuff, y'all ain't got to do it. Like, y'all ain't got to do nothing, man, but show up and be there. Trina said, then I shall start watching you on YouTube. We're going to put them coins in your pocket. Thank you so much. Round of applause to that. Well, not that. Yeah. But I think and Trina, this goes back to my conversation as to why I started talking about social digital currency. I think the education is not there. I don't think a lot of people understand how time equity works when it comes to these platforms. There are certain ones that champion the amount of time that you have people on your live, which YouTube is the only one that I can think of. The value system on Instagram is more towards reels when you like or watch the reels that are up, because the reels, they pay you for the reels. On TikTok, they don't have a time value equity, although the metric for TikTok is the gifting, you know what I'm saying, is what their metric is. And they have these things, I don't know if y'all even notice, on TikTok, they have contests and they have these things that say if you get the most gifts, they'll contribute even more to you, whatever. If you have, that's why the subscribership, like each one of them try to find a way to monetize, but most of them, the monetization is driven by the people on the platform. And I don't know how, part of me, I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? I think that for the type of conversation I have, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get on and I do more conversing and teaching and open up your eyes to a couple different things other than I don't get on here and dance. I don't get on here. I don't even talk music as much as I should. I'm a successful music producer. If any of y'all didn't know, I don't even talk about it that much. You know what I'm saying? I don't even talk about the music industry as much as I should on this particular platform. It's just this conversation and the way that we communicate cultivated itself on its own. And, like a fish in water, it just, what I'm saying? I can't change it because I enjoy the conversation and I love having the space to do it. Instagram, I think Instagram needs to work on their engagement tools, because there's no way to that I have the amount of followers I have on Instagram, yet when it comes to having a conversation that's meaningful or whatnot, it's not on the For You page. And one of the dopest things I think out there, TikTok has the best engagement. The For You page is everything. Yeah, so 100 said, you got beautiful music to make. Out of all the social media platforms, I like YouTube. Yep. YouTube is probably the number one place overall. But I will tell you, the engagement on TikTok, there's nothing like it. You all just being able to discover a channel like mine or a conversation like mine from the For You page I've not seen that like anything on anybody's stuff. Yep. And Donald said Instagram shadow bans quickly on a lot of people's stuff. And they shadow ban on TikTok, but not as often. You know what I'm saying? And not, it's subtle. Some days are some days it's a few hundred people, and then on Sundays we had 400 or 500 people. This past Sunday, the Sunday before that we had 2,500 people, and the Sunday before that was like ranging between 800 and 1,500. So I love the fact that they don't mind sharing you know what I mean, with others, and it's such a challenge on these other platforms that it's worth the conversation, right? Because I don't think people understand how all this works. And if you don't educate people on how it works, then people will continue to do what they've always done. And that's also the conversation that we have about all the different subject matters that we talk about. If we don't talk about them, they go unnoticed. What up, D-Bots? They go over people's heads. They go untalked about. They go unchecked. And you will continue to do the same thing, not only with me, but you'll do it with other people. There are other people who have successful conversations that I think we should pay attention to. There are other platforms and hosts on these platforms that deserve your support and attention. I'm not the only one. But we can't complain if we're not putting the support the right way for the people you spend your time with, man. If you're not out front, then you should be pushing them like crazy. Like literally, like you should be on them. You should be like, yo, y'all should check this out. Y'all should y'all got it. Man, I be doing this. I be on this. And I know people have done it with the apple cider vinegar conversation. I'm really, really proud of you guys. Like, I'm really, really proud of you guys who have continued the conversation about health and wellness, because that first and foremost is the true currency of this world. I know people want you to believe that money is, but money don't mean shit. A billionaire wants another day if he can have it, if he's on his last day. A billionaire would give up all that money if you say, hey, you're supposed to die on a Monday, but if you give me your $1 billion, I'll give you till Tuesday. They'll give up that $1 billion. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. So 100 said he found me on Instagram late night making music. What I used to do before I joined TikTok and before I was even kind of really navigating these streets of YouTube, I was on Instagram and I would just get on and create. I haven't done that in so long. And that's both. Like it's real talk. So 100, my creativity output is lower than it's ever been. I'm not mad at it because I work. That's kind of like the way I work. I got to be inspired to work, and I'm not inspired right now to actually create anything. Although I'm a part of some things that are happening out in the world that are going to come out into light. I am a part of some things. I planted some seeds, but as far as creating, I mean, I could be doing so much more. But I love the fact that we talk about health and wellness the way that we do, because that's the greatest currency that any of us is going to have. The more time you have, the more you can do. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. And and this Black History Month, I want to reiterate this before I get off here. Black History Month, y'all, should be the most powerful Black History Month. If we do this right, if we spend black all Black History Month, if we invite other communities to come in and spend black, if we implore them to do that, if we implore everyone to spend black and put their money in the black community like we do in everybody else's community, we will change the narrative and and gain leverage out here in this system. For the amount of money we spend and to have no leverage is like farting in the wind. I'm saying we should create a shit stain, something rememberable, something they can see. And if we can do this, when we manage to do this, which I'm going to do another post to kind of put people back up on that. I got a good, usually y'all, I advertise on Instagram, if you know what I mean. Like I'll create a reel on Instagram. I just feel like the engagement is greater when I do that on Instagram. Not so much on TikTok, but I'll do both. I'll do TikTok and Instagram. And maybe I'll even do a short on YouTube to just kind of put people on board. Like, look, this is the plan. Because if we don't communicate what a plan should be and how to do it, we'll never get it done. You know what I mean? Letitia said she went to the flea market in Jacksonville, walked away with more vegetables than ever for about $150. Going to freeze vegetables and everything, and to top it all, black farmers. That's what's up. And that's what should be happening now. That's exactly what should be happening. Don't wait till Black History Month to all of a sudden figure out where all the black places are, black entrepreneurs are at. Find those black entrepreneurs now, start spending with them now, and even put them on, give them a heads up. Hey, man, I'm going to tell everybody to make sure that they're rocking with you from here, but from this day forward. But, man, you should see a crazy increase in February. We're going to show you what happens. And this is us as a community. As a community, we typically multiply no matter what you give us. But I wanted to reverberate around the nation that you gave us the shortest month, and we did the most with it. You gave us 28 days, and we made that 28 days look and feel like 2 whole months. That's right, Trina. Got to do the homework on them now, man. So this is something that I'm real passionate about. I hope you guys take a passion to it as well, that we absolutely, unequivocally have to make history during Black History Month and beyond. Like this should start now. And then ramp up to Black History Month. And if we can, and honestly, I'm saying Black History Month, but I'm really, really hoping and praying that it'll extend out through the rest of the year. Can you imagine? The boycott lasted, the bus boycott in Alabama lasted 380 days. It cost those people $3,000 a day. And that's why change happened. We want leverage. Man, can you imagine the kind of leverage that you gain the year before an election when black people reclaim the dollar that they're spending? Meaning you have to have a different conversation. Ice Cube said it. Ice Cube said it. Like some people have gone, this ain't new. What I'm saying ain't a new idea. That's what's up, Letitia. She said, I want to thank you because I never paid that any attention. I always just purchased items. I never really paid attention to who was selling them. And none of us do because we're part of this, the way things are. But if we manage to do it and impact this world, this nation like crazy on February, can you imagine? Now, again, February will be the launching of it, like more impactful because everyone, not just us as a community, but everybody will be a part of it. And if we can continue to do that, which it would be beneficial to do it anyway, because we'd only patronize these places because they were good. But if we continue it past that point, we're going to change things for generations to come. Now, having this power, I'll tell y'all some of the things that, well, I'm gonna get into it today, but we're gonna talk about that more succinctly, right? Because I always say to you guys, if you could have what you wanted, what does that look like? What does getting what you want look like? Y'all got to think about that. Let me write that down. That's our conversation tomorrow. What does getting what you want actually look like? Sometimes I wish I could just talk and it write itself. That's how lazy we gotten. We got so lazy that I literally was like, I don't want to write this. I wish I could just talk it and text it. But I'm gonna write it down because writing it down, I have it right in front of me. What does getting what you want look like? Now, listen, it's important. It's important that we have this dialogue, right? Because what you all have noticed, I'm sure every last person within the sound of my voice has been in this situation. You've asked for something and you got it, only to realize that you left out some very important details. I was a victim of wanting and wishing for a fat booty bitch. There was a time where I wanted a girl with a fat booty. I know it sounds simple to you. I thought it was simple too. Lord, please just give me a bad chick with a fat booty. That was me. Because I believe that, y'all know what we was taught, if you ask, you will receive. I was like, Lord, I just need a fat girl, booty girl. That's all I want. Just give me a girl with a fat booty, pretty face, slim in the waist. You know what I'm saying? Just give me a fat booty. And guess what? Because I believed, I got it. I got a bad chick with a fat booty. I was like, woo! But I got all the crazy stuff that I left out too. I got everything else too. Dull conversationist, didn't like to do this, didn't like to do that, didn't think about this, didn't think about that. I got everything else included with that fat booty that I didn't know came with the fat booty. And that was one of the things that made me say we have to pay attention to detail, but you can't do that alone. We don't have the wherewithal to be able to shape the kind of things that can change a nation. We don't have the kind of wherewithal to, by ourselves, to make the decisions that we need to make when asking for things. So it's important that this conversation happens in a community like this, where we can say, what is getting what we want look like? Because you have to communicate what reparations look like, and then you say, because some people gonna say getting what we want means getting reparations. Well, what does reparations actually look like, and what's the plan to give everybody, and who's gonna get it, and da 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 da. If we don't talk these things out, then we're gonna present a very open and manipulatable, that's a new word I just made up, or we're gonna present ideas that can be shaped by others. That's why it's important you come to the table with everything figured out as much as you can. True story, Trina. And it goes, be careful what you ask for when you haven't discussed it with anybody else. It should be a part of that conversation. I know that if you sit down at a round table, you can come up with a solution based off of all the brains that are there, whether they contribute something good or not. Even when people contribute bad ideas, that's one thing that you can scoot off the table, because it's in all of our minds. If somebody's commonplace thinking something outrageous, more than one person is usually thinking it, and you can just wipe that thought off the table and you can continue building. But you need all of it. So we'll talk about what is getting what we want. Like when we get this power, when we get this leverage, what are we going to do with it? If they said to you now, as people in the black community, they said, all right, y'all, we admit it, we was wrong. Tell us what y'all want and how y'all think it should be done. What are we going to say? Like, the disbelief that we can have what we want is so great that nobody's thought about the outcome. Nobody's thought about what if we actually could get it. And that's all I think about. When you guys hit me up and we get into those conversations on, so some people like to have a private discussion with me. And when we get into those private discussions, like Donald did a consultation with me. And one of the things I asked of Donald was, well, what does it look like? Like, what does it look like for you to have what you want? What does it ultimately look like? Because I think it's important that not only you look at the beginning, the middle, but the end. Like, you should know what the resolve is. And if you don't know what the resolve is, if you don't know why you're even participating or what should become of it, nothing else makes sense. If you don't have a vision of it, and then when we talk about what your vision of it looks like, we can actually make it realistic. Because a lot of times some people's visions or what they see off into the future is so far-fetched to be like, well, doing what you're talking about doing right now ain't going to get that. Like, it might get this, but it ain't going to get that. Now, if you're trying to get that, let's go back over the conversation. Because to get that, it requires some different things. So having these realistic points of what the end of it looks like, or what getting what we want looks like, or having things our way, what does that look like? It requires, some real thought. And it should be something that you weigh amongst other minds that you think are creative, and other minds that you think have thought of everything. You know what I'm saying? People who are idea people are great people to bounce your ideas off of, because they will look at it from another perspective. And I think that's what people pay for in my consultations. They pay for my perspective. It takes that, right? It takes multiple personalities, like T.I. and Big Mike. Like, it takes different perspectives. and you need them to give you a well-rounded one in your conversation. But you can't. None of this happens alone, man. Nobody has. Even kings had advisors. You know what I'm saying? Even people who are already at the top of the food chain, and everybody. You know, that's what the Senate and the House of Representatives is supposed to be to the president. But you know, yeah, throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. But you can't do that alone because you're just throwing the same materials and seeing the same things. When you throw it up against the wall and somebody else is standing there and be like, yo, man, don't that look like this? Or do you ever consider blah, 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 blah? So it's important. It ain't got to be me, but it should be people that y'all know or whatever that y'all respect to have that conversation with for your vision, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? I've helped people across the board with all kind of different things, from fashion and retail to, you know, advice about, you know, their future as in their careers and different things, just to have a perspective going into conversations with other people. So yeah, definitely. So anyway, man, we are pushing up on 2 hours, a little bit longer than what I expected to be on. But all of this, I always feel like all of it's important. Tomorrow we'll have a conversation about what does getting what you want look like, and maybe a few other things to jump in there as well. You know what I'm saying? I keep my ears to the ground and eyes and ears open to hear the conversations that are out there that I think you may be interested in hearing. And discussing and giving a point and perspective that I know isn't in most people's conversation section, so that you can have something to lean on and kind of look at yourself. I like examining these different things that people are putting out there so that we can look at them and kind of navigate through them together. If you're not following me, follow me now. Turn on notifications to always. Subscribe, follow. Thank you to anybody who's done any of the gifting, anybody who's done any of the supporting the channel outside of social digital currency. If you've converted your currency into actual currency, thank you so much. For those of you who have shared the rooms and shared the conversation, I really always appreciate that, because it just says you mean that I mean a lot to you, for you to share me with your friends and your family and those that you care about. That's always dope, and I appreciate that so much. Trina says, always appreciate love. Thank you wholeheartedly. I think you too. Yeah, Jacob just got to get here a little early. It's all good. I know it's my bad because I didn't get on at my regular time at 9 this morning. And really, there are a few things happening this holiday weekend. So if y'all just give me a little grace, I will try to always be on at some point during these days so that you guys can catch it. Should you miss it, remember you can always watch these replays back on YouTube. Dwight_Scrap_Reynolds is available for you to watch it on the replays on YouTube. Watch the commercials. Again, this is another point to, you know, how it works. If you watch the commercials, the channel benefits from it. All right. So Instagram, I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all can get in my DMs if y'all need me. Same thing for you guys over on TikTok. If y'all need me, you can get on the TikTok DMs, or you can just DM me on Instagram if you're following. This is not goodbye. This is to be continued. I'm out. And for my YouTubers, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all hung out with me all day. There was a lot of you guys in here today hanging out, and I appreciate you guys big time. That is one of the platforms I really want to build up so that you guys can take some of the burden of reaching in your pocket to support. You can just show up here and just tune in. All right? I appreciate y'all big time. Later.